Hey you guys, it's me Gemstone from www.tarotforhealing.com. I hope you guys are doing really well. Now, this is your weekly reading from the 27th of April to the 3rd of May. I'm going to be using the Chrysalis Tarot, and this deck was made by Holly Sierra. She did the artwork, and Tony Brooks did the writing, I'm guessing, of the little guidebook and stuff that comes along with it. So I really do like this deck. I haven't used it in a long time, and I feel bad about it because now that I'm kind of playing with it, like to do this reading, I actually like I'm kind of missing it, and I was like, I should really like start using this deck properly, because I really do love the artwork. It's just so pretty and so beautiful, but I think where the symbolism and stuff is quite different, because this definitely isn't like a Rider Waite clone or anything like that, or like a fourth clone. So it's kind of like you have to kind of learn to sort of use it. But now I really feel a lot more in sync with it, so I think I'll be using it much more often. So the first card to show up, I wasn't really that pleased to see, is the Five of Mirrors. The reason why I'm not pleased to see the Five of Mirrors is because that card, oh, it just gets me a bit fed up, because it's like one of them cards that's, it's like when the person is seeing like the negative side of everything, and it can just leave you in a state of kind of being mopey and like, oh, I don't like whatever is going on in my life right now. And it's like you can't see the good in the situation. It's like you're just going to focus on what went wrong. It's almost like you could be in a situation where you have like the best day ever, and let's say all these good stuff are happening to you, and then like you stub your toe and now your day is ruined. Like the only thing you can concentrate on is now your stubbed toe. It's like everything else has just become like irrelevant now. And so that's how it can kind of be with this card. So that's why it's a bit like, ugh. So what this card also can show is it can show disappointments, basically disappointments over certain things that maybe you wanted to happen, it didn't happen. Or maybe you're just feeling like, oh my gosh, is what I really want going to happen? And that's what's kind of getting you down, because you're kind of feeling like, oh, it just seems like it's not, and that kind of stuff. But then the good thing is, well, it gets kind of better as it progresses. The middle card is the Justice card, and it's saying that this is a time of deliberation. When I see this card, like the first word that came to my mind is direction. Like things are going to be moving in a new direction, or you might have to take a new approach to something that you've been doing. Probably the new approach is maybe to change your perspective on the way you look at things or look at this situation, because it might actually be telling you that the reason why things have either been delayed, or the reason why things are kind of up in the air, or maybe even the reason why it ended in disappointment, whatever situation you're in, is because you're being redirected towards something else, or something else is gonna come through to for you down the pipeline because of this other disappointment that you've gone through. And that's the interesting thing about life experiences, is that, in the moment we look at disappointments as like, oh my gosh, this has gone wrong, like, and then you get upset about it. But sometimes it, down the line, or even like soon afterwards, you might even be able to see why you had to go through that disappointment. Maybe you didn't get that job because you needed to get the next one afterwards, and then something happens, that's even better for you. Same thing, sometimes you're in a rush to get to your destination and you miss the train, and then you get on the next one, but then on the next train something happens that you would have never expected. Like maybe you meet somebody you haven't seen in ages, like on that train, or there's somebody that, I don't know, is there reading a newspaper, and you glance at it and it has something that is relevant to you in your life, like printed in a newspaper. Like it can be all kinds of stuff like that. So sometimes you can find that things can happen in very unexpected places. Like something that happened to me, and I don't want to get into my own life story and just detract from the reading altogether. But this was just something that was interesting to me. Was that I went to my mom had an appointment at the hospital, and so I went with her, and then on the wall there was this painting, and when I looked at the painting, I started to read the painting like I would do cards. And the message that was in there, I was like, oh wow. And it was so weird because it was completely in sync with things that I've been thinking about doing, wanting to do, planning to do. And then funnily enough, even on the painting itself had the same glyph for my astrological sign, like my sun sign. And I was like, wow, so there could be messages just any and everywhere. And sometimes, things can happen and you might be like, oh, like we have to go to this place. But then when you go there, it's like something happens that you just didn't expect. And I didn't expect that today. So again, sometimes, we don't see the full picture of everything. So even if it's something that is like a disappointment, it might not entirely be like strictly all disappointing. And so the justice card might be saying that maybe again something might be delayed as well, because justice is also like connected to court systems and stuff like that, legal systems. And if you think about it, like court cases and stuff, it's like deliberation, it takes time. So even if this isn't a court situation for you specifically, it could be saying that something is taking its time to come through, or a decision is taking its time to be made. And this might be a decision that either you're trying to make, or it could be a decision that is in the hands of somebody else, but it's affecting you. And that might also be why you're sort of maybe like have that Five of Mirrors energy. But the thing about the Five of Mirrors, when you do look at it closely, is that obviously this woman doesn't look very disappointed. So I feel almost like the message that this card has in it is, when you look at her image, she looks very at peace with her situation. So what I would say is, even though you might be disappointed in something, it's saying to be at peace with it. Just try to make peace with the situation. Try not to be resistant to what is happening. Just try to sort of go with the flow of things. It can be difficult again to see things from a different perspective if you're going through it at the moment, but it's sort of saying you might even need to release this certain feelings, certain maybe pent up frustrations and stuff like that. And the best way to release it can be through meditation, through yoga, through anything that can just make you feel calm and more relaxed and at peace and centered with yourself, and grounded as well. Sometimes just going out into nature and just sitting on the grass can really help to ground you and center you as well. And so yeah, and then we had the Maya, that's the Justice card. And then we're sort of moving on to the Eight of Spirals. And the Eight of Spirals is like the Eight of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck. And the Eight of Spirals is basically saying that the reason why you've had disappointments, and the reason why you've had to wait dealing with the deliberations and making choices and decisions and stuff like that, is because something good is going to be coming through for you as a result. Something is coming down the pipeline fast. So you're going to get some communication that is going to come through, and it's going to make you happy. You're going to feel like you actually did manifest something that you really wanted. So again, it's so interesting because where justice, usually is the one in the middle holding the weighing scales. It looks like on either side, on one, oh, okay. On one side of the scale, it's like you have the Five of Mirrors, which is like showing the disappointment, and then on the other side of the scale, it's the Eight of Spirals, which is showing really good news coming through. So it kind of shows like sort of the polarities that can go on happen in life. But it's basically saying, I guess, on the weighing scales, is that you have to accept and embrace every experience that you're going through, whether it's positive or negative. We have to be able to balance them out and weigh them out, and we have to be able to cope with whatever life does throw at us, because essentially we can't resist what is going to happen. We can't resist any changes or disappointments or hardships. We kind of have to accept them for what they are and be able to navigate through them as best we can, going through that process in that moment. And interestingly enough, I guess to make the reading even better, is underneath the deck is the Eight of Spirals. And what the Eight of Spirals is about, as you can see, is the sun in there, which is bringing positive energy. It's a positive outcome to a situation. And then you have these little flags, and the flags are flags of celebration, because what this card represents is achievements, accolades, acknowledgement, other people recognizing what you do, and you even moving up in position, so it could be a progression as well. So there's some kind of victory and success that is associated with this card, and that's really connecting with the card that has shown up at the end, which is the Eight of Spirals. So don't worry about delays or any issues that's been showing up, because it's saying that by the further into this week, or it could even at some point in this week, things are going to be moving in a completely different direction, and you're going to be much happier with the process of things. So yes, that's your reading, you guys. Peace and blessings to you. Bye.